My name is Duane for y'all out there watching Through the Wind and the Cloud podcast, cool podcast, and I'm part of the cool group now. So my name is Duane Ferguson, and let's see, I'm a him, he, lover of all, lover of mankind and person kind, I should say, womankind, every kind, child kind, finger bars, and and I've been, I've been on this planet for quite a bit now. Just recently had a birthday. I'm not dating the show, but I just recently had a birthday, and it's one of those. It's an almost milestone birthday. It's a year off.
Happy birthday!
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I am. I guess I'm an artist. Not I guess. I'm sorry. I am an artist. I live in New York City. I'm up here in Inwood. And my day job, my career is a broadcast associate, where is a fancy way of just saying that I work in television, where I produce shows. I mostly a director, and I'm also a camera operator. So that's the day job. But then when I'm not doing that, I find myself on the theatrical stage or behind the camera as a director of photography, and once in a while, very few, directing. But let's just start off with that, and I'm sure your journalistic skills will get a lot more out of me. So
awesome.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
also want to know. I just thought about this. Like, I'm like, we ask people who are they, and then they go off what they do. And I also want to ask you, who are you?
Yes.
Who are you without? If you didn't have the job titles, and who are you after that?
See, I was joking about the Pluto and Socrates.
Yeah, so I want to ask, what do you see yourself as? Yeah.
Is this a therapy session now? No, I would start with a curious being. You know what I mean? It's like ever since my childhood, I was always curious, and I always sort of was like an energy siphoning sort of being. I relate to people in terms of energy, you know what I mean? And I recognize that from a very, very early age, when I was growing up in Trinidad. I just knew it.
You were born in Trinidad?
No, I was not. I was born in Harlem. I was born in New York City.
Okay.
And
where in Harlem?
Where in the hospital? Harlem Hospital?
No. Did you live in Harlem?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, I thought we were. Yeah, I thought we were neighbors.
Yeah. So I made a joke, but I was born in Harlem. So I was born in Harlem because my mom was a nurse. Oh, yeah, she was a nurse practitioner, and she had moved from Trinidad to New York to study nursing. She went to Lehman College. Fellow Lehman Theater kid. We'll get into that later.
Wow.
Right. She went there, and then her second degree was at Columbia University.
Nice.
And while she was at Columbia, that's when she had me. So I was born in Harlem. I just happened to be born in Harlem. But as far as where I grew up, in terms of the New York side of things, and I'll explain. I'll get more definite in that. Washington Heights, 157 and Broadway.
All right. So
that's my sort of childhood summer home.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know, but that's yeah.
Did you go to Trinidad often? Because I see.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was born. So here's the thing: I was born in New York.
Okay.
And because my mom was still doing school in Columbia, my grandmother was like, you know what? Just to kind of ease off things, why don't just bring him down to Trinidad, and I'll take care of him, and then we'll see how it goes from then. And what it turned into was my mom's sister literally came from Trinidad, picked me up in a swaddling cloth at 6 months old, and flew right back to Trinidad. And I grew up in Trinidad in terms of school, but every summer I would come to New York. From
so it was the other way around. Usually it's like, every summer you go visit the grandmother.
Exactly. Nice. It's the other way around. My summers growing up as a kid was New York. So I was a very bicultural kid in Trinidad.
Nice.
Like I always had a little bit of swag, whatever. But you know what I mean? But because I had that New York thing. And I grew up, and it was normal for me to be somebody who was like, my mom's in New York, my dad's in Toronto, and I grew up in Trinidad. So that was my life for the first 16 years of my life is every summer I would go see my mom, and she'd come down at Christmas time, and sometimes I would go for Christmas, and she'd come for summer.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a holy trinity of mothers for me. It was my grandmother, my mom, and my aunt. That same woman that
Wow. Yeah.
wrapped me in the cloth.
That's
Right. So
rough.
those were my three mother figures growing up.
How
Yeah.
would you say that that the way you grew up and going
Hmm.
back and forth, and also these three beautiful women who basically raised you, how
Hmm.
did that influence your growth as a young man?
Wow. Good question. I think that the whole energy thing I was talking about before,
Very spiritual.
I think it has a very feminine energy to it. And I think the
Mm,
reason why is because of the fact that I was the most powerful force in my life was my grandmother, because
mm,
she herself was a powerhouse.
mm,
She, of course, she influenced my mom in terms of, yeah, bring Dwayne here, but she herself had a fascinating story of growing up in the southern part of Trinidad,
mm-hmm,
and wanting better for her life. So she moved
mm.
her whole family to the northern part of Trinidad, which is like so the southern part of Trinidad is like, I don't want to generalize in case there are any
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trini people watching.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to disrespect all, you know what I'm saying, right? Um, but she grew up in this. My family's from the southern country part
Okay.
of Trinidad. We grew up in a town called Rio Claro,
Okay.
and my grandmother moved the family to the northern part of Trinidad, more of like the suburbs, to
Okay.
Diego Martin. So people from
Okay.
Trinidad would know what I'm talking about. But suburban country, that's a universal thing, right?
Well, that's what.
Um,
Yeah,
right,
I mean, you can see. Yeah.
right. So my grandmother did that, and so everybody was in that house. The same one that
I
I was
grew up in.
delivered to was my aunt, her husband, my two cousins that I call my sisters now, and I had two other cousins. It was a full house.
Wow.
So I had a lot of female. So my grandmother was that central, you know.
She was like the
Um,
foundation, right?
yes, and
The
I think
rock, the rock.
my yes, absolutely solid rock. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of my my morals and the way I'm sort of cut
Yeah.
is based on her. Now, of course, be, we all can relate to this. Different generations,
Mm-hmm.
bump heads in terms of technology, in terms of cultural things, and
Mm-hmm.
old school thought and all that stuff. So all of that
Yeah.
was there too. But even that shaped me into who I
Ah,
am now. And I think
yeah.
I would say I'm more of a progressive guy now because of all
Okay.
of those things, in terms of growing up in Trinidad, and very conservative nature of the
Mhm.
Caribbean. You're a Caribbean girl, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Well, I mean, I was born here.
Right,
I
right,
wasn't raised in Dominican Republic, but I kind of
right.
have an idea of the stories I hear and when I go
Yes.
visit. Yeah,
Right, right. But even though you grew up in New York, it's like the
yeah.
blood is there. I mean, that
Yes.
like grandma, tia,
Yeah,
tío,
yeah, yeah,
abuela,
yeah.
abuelita, all of that.
Even at home, like how I was raised, speaking
Right.
Spanish and the cultures there. Yeah, it's like they brought
Right.
the country to the apartment. I
Yes.
had roosters in my apartment. Like,
What? Wait, you grew up in the Bronx, eh? In the Bronx? You raised in the
no,
Bronx?
I grew up in
Where?
Manhattan, West
Well, you just said
Harlem,
we were neighbors. That's right. Where again?
West 135th Street,
Right. So we were neighbors.
and
Gotcha.
you're
Gotcha.
157. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You said
Mm-hmm.
that. See, pay attention on the podcast, y'all. My cool points are slowly going out. This is for y'all out there in the podcast. Always pay attention to what your host is saying, okay? So you don't look like an idiot.
And
That's you
always
know what I'm
pay
saying.
attention to what here. And we have to pay attention to what you say.
I'm
So
scatterbrained, so it's going to be a hard pass.
me too. Me too.
On
So
artist
we
talk.
both exactly. So
Right.
what was I gonna ask you?
Hmm.
So you were how was it? What was it like for you? You were in Trinidad for the most
Hmm.
part, and then
Hmm.
summers is like 3 months. Was that
Right.
like a did you feel uncomfortable, or was it like normal for you?
Right.
What did you like best? Where did you like to stay? Yeah, like
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So this is all right. So it became a routine, and with all routines, it became a part of
ah
my life. There
ah
wasn't any disparity. What my favorite. So okay.
gotcha.
So growing up, old school Trinidad, and New
Yeah.
Yorkers won't know anything about this, right? I grew up in a country where there were two stations on
Wow.
television. Two. Matter of fact, technically, it's all right. So it was channels 2 and 13, but they all
Okay.
had the same programming. And then they had 9 and 14. So it sounds
Okay.
like there were four stations, but it was actually two, and they had
Two
pretty much the
because they
same
had to stay.
programming. Exactly. There had no cable. I remember in my neighborhood growing up in Diamondville, there was this guy with a satellite dish in his house, and we'd be like, "Oh my God, it's a guy with a satellite dish. What is he watching?"
Yeah, yeah,
Because we
yeah.
would watch. I grew up at all the stuff like American television, Canadian television, Australian television, and British
Wow.
television, because Trinidad was a British colony. So
Oh,
a lot
that's
of the
right.
most of the programming was
Ah,
British and American. But
gotcha.
so a lot of the '70s stuff that I could sort of talk with a lot of English people with television in the '70s and '80s because I knew the shows, right?
Yes.
So my favorite part of going to New York was my mom not only had more than 4 stations, she had cable, right? So from a young, so I
Thousands.
listen. Now this is where you and I would relate, okay? I, all right. So in the morning, I'd be watching my cartoons in the morning,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Then there would be all the boring soap operas, whatever. And as soon
Yeah,
as two
definitely.
o'clock hit, it was either Channel 5,
Oh,
right? Or Channel 11. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. I
It was
can't
either,
remember the channels.
well, okay, well, it was like He-Man and
He-Man,
Transformers and Tom
Transformers,
and Jerry
Voltron, right?
and yeah, oh yeah,
Thundercats.
all that. Oh, name
Yeah,
name
yeah,
them
yeah.
all.
Yeah, yeah,
GoBots
yeah.
and what else was on the real Ghostbusters? Like it was
Yes.
all that
Yes,
stuff that I
yes,
was
yes, yes,
watching
yes, yes,
from
yes.
from from 2 o'clock to like maybe 5,
Oh
and then
my
it would
God,
be
you said
boring.
heaven.
I would look
News.
forward to
5 o'clock or 6 o'clock is like news, and you're like,
right, exactly. Chuck Scarborough and all those guys. Get out of here.
yeah,
I don't
you're like,
want
I
to.
don't want to watch this no more.
You'll tell who are you? Give me back my Tom and Jerry. At least I
I
love Lucy. Give
know,
me all
right?
that stuff. You know. So that is what I looked for. So I mean, it sounds ungrateful, but that's what I look forward to. My mom
Mm,
had cable, and then the other thing too is the reason why I'm such a movie buff
mm-hmm.
is because my mom, when she would come to Trinidad, right, she would
Yeah.
tape these movies off of cable. Like she had Showtime. I knew what Showtime and HBO
Oh,
was.
she has Showtime.
We had Showtime
What?
and HBO, girl, with the
Oh,
VHS. So she'd bring the stacks of
so she'll
VHS.
record like all the movies for you.
And so
Wow,
I
that's
was like, as a
awesome.
kid, my friends would come over and we'd watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or we'd watch
Oh,
Rocky
wow.
3, or we'd
Ooh,
watch,
Rocky.
you know what I mean? Like, bunch of, like, there's so many movies. I can't even, it's so many that my mom taped for me, and my
Oh, so
friends and
that's
I
how
would
you were
enjoy.
exposed. So
That's how I was
from
exposed to
there,
movies.
is that how, so where did your artistic interests come along?
I
How did
think
that come
so.
about?
So it's twofold.
Okay.
So, well, maybe three. So that what I talked about in terms of being exposed to movies at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, like, the first thing, when you're 5 or 4 or whatever, people ask you what do you want to be when you grow up, and people
Mm-hmm.
would say, at 4 or 5, spaceman or policeman or
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. I remember,
Doctor.
right, all of that. I remember saying I wanted to be a director, a film director. I said
Wow,
that
you
at
were
like 4
very
or 5. I
specific.
knew it. Yep, I
You
knew
didn't
it
say
because
actor. You didn't
nope,
say,
nope.
oh.
I didn't even say actor. I knew what acting was because I watched a crap load of television. Like, we didn't even talk about the '80s prime time, the Knight
Mm-hmm,
Riders and
mm-hmm,
the A
mm-hmm.
Teams and all of that
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah,
Or St. Elsewhere or Hill Street Blues,
yeah.
which both of those shows, by the way, taught me about acting, but that's a whole other thing.
Oh,
So
wow.
I watched, and I used to watch like Dynasty and Falcon Crest with my grandmother
Oh,
in
my.
her
Oh,
bedroom.
because
So
she
I
would
knew
work.
what acting was, right?
Okay.
Directing, I knew like the directors' names. I knew who Spielberg was. I knew
Yes.
who Coppola was. I knew who De Palma was. I just knew names of directors. Not that I didn't know actors, but I knew directors. And I was like, that's something. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what directing
Yeah, I was
was.
going to say, like, yeah.
I didn't. But I
You
knew,
were just like,
I think watching a lot of Spielberg movies, if the name Spielberg was attached to a movie, I was like, I had to see it. And I knew at an early age it was either directed by Steven Spielberg or produced by Steven Spielberg. And I knew the difference between the movies he directed and produced. It was
mm,
crazy. I just knew all of that at a young
that
age.
is,
It was
wow, that's
crazy.
crazy.
But the other thing too, as far as the arts,
It's
right?
like you
So that
came
was,
with it already
yeah, it was
from a past.
kind
I
of
mean, I
hardwired
believe
in
in
me.
past
So,
lives. So it's like, I feel that that's
mhm,
like you were probably a director in your past life and you just knew.
maybe I was Oscar Michaud. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe.
Who
I'll
knows?
take that.
Yeah.
I'll take
Right?
that. So there was that, but also I had a lot of musicality in me, right? There was
Yes.
music in the household. Growing up in
Like
Trinidad and
any
Tobago,
Caribbean household,
I
right?
was just gonna say, we not only had, the, let's say, Western American Billboard Top 10, whatever, the
Yes.
Michael Jackson's, Prince, whatever, blah 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 blah
Yes.
blah, or
Yes. Yes.
even I'm old. I'm a little older than you, so I go back even further with the yacht. What do you call it? Yacht rock in the '70s and '80s, and all those guys.
Oh, and I love all types of music, but I never heard of
Yeah. Well,
that.
yacht rock is
Give
the term,
me
like,
a name of a band.
for yacht rock is a Michael. What's the guy who sang Sweet Freedom? Oh, Chris Cross, Sailing. That's
Oh,
yacht
okay.
rock.
Okay. Okay.
Stuff
Okay.
like
Okay.
that.
Okay. Okay.
Sailing and it's sailing. Right. And then the guy, well, the brother from the Doobie Brothers who sang Sweet Freedom, and people are
I'm
yelling at me right
horrible with
now.
names.
Michael, it'll come to me, but his name is Michael. Oh God,
I'm
This is
horrible with
embarrassing.
names.
It'll come to me, but I
Yeah.
know your
And I
people are
can't
gonna
help you, unfortunately.
they're gonna write. It'll come to me.
My
I'll
husband will
yell.
probably be like, "Oh yeah, I know."
Yeah. If he was there, he'd shout
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
all of those guys, I was into that. But I was into music very young too. And I in the primary school that I
Me
went to in
too.
Trinidad, I was in the choir because I like singing.
Mm.
So that's where the musicality. I always credit Miss Lorraine Granderson, who was my choir
Who's
teacher, who
that?
I still am in
Okay.
contact with on Facebook
I
all
was
these
just
years
gonna
later.
ask you, are you still in Wow,
Heck
that's
yeah,
awesome.
because
I
she
love
influenced.
that.
She was a very positive person in my life in terms of my art. She gave me confidence as an artist because I was
That's
a little. I
awesome.
knew her from. She had me as far as a student from the ages 5 to 11. So for 6 years,
Wow,
we were
that's
mentored by
beautiful.
her because she wasn't
Mm.
just a choir teacher; she was a teacher, and she
Yeah.
was a mother figure. So she all
Mm.
our teachers growing up gave us a little piece of something that I still carry now. And good teachers are supposed to do that. But she was an exceptional
Yes.
teacher because not only
Mm.
did she give me life lessons as a teacher, but she was also my music teacher. And she taught me
Wow.
piano. Now that I think about it, I also took piano lessons with her.
Wow, that's so
So yeah,
beautiful.
yep,
And
yep.
it's beautiful that you're still in contact with her, and then you acknowledge all the growth
Oh
that
yeah,
you've had because of her too.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely,
it's beautiful
absolutely.
to have teachers like that.
Absolutely, which is why I think teaching is the greatest profession in the world,
It is, and they
hands
don't get
down.
the credit that they deserve.
They do not.
Hmm.
Whoever you think the most influential person in terms of titans of industry or in technology in the world is, they wouldn't be there if somebody didn't educate them to begin with. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I owe, and plus my aunt, which
100%.
the very first school that I went to,
Was
the same woman that my mom's
the
sister,
swaddle wrapped you
right,
up on the
right.
plane?
Yes, see, paying attention. The house that I grew up in Diego Martin, Damonville, was also a kindergarten, right? My
Oh,
aunt taught
she
that
was.
kindergarten. She was my first teacher, my very first
Oh,
teacher. So
wow.
I have a soft spot for teachers anyway. You know.
Yeah, definitely, because it comes from one of the. That's
hmm
nice. That's
Michael
awesome.
McDonald. Boom. Swan Sweet Michael McDonald. That's his name. See, I
Dang!
knew it was gonna come in. I knew it was gonna come in.
Michael McDonald.
Get that reference. You
I'm
know what I mean?
familiar. I'm not familiar with him. I'm gonna look him up.
Come on. You look him up. His
You know
music
what
is
it
dope.
is? The
Yeah.
music. If I hear the
hmm
songs, I'll be like, "Oh, I got it."
Okay, you know that song with
That's
Patty?
how I am.
On my own.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
Patty
yeah.
LaBelle and Mike McDonald.
Oh, okay.
There
Got it.
you go.
See? There you go.
I'm here for you, Alex. I'm here.
So when
I'm here.
so then
Yeah.
now you were like, I want to be a director. So what did you do about that? Like, how did you go
Okay.
forward? Like, okay, how does this work? How do I
Right.
become a director? What
Right.
were the research you did?
Right. So the interesting thing was, there was no information for me or for
In
anyone for that
Trinidad,
matter.
right?
Right. Because Trinidad, even though it's a very artistic and very creative place, we are the home
That's
of
true.
Carnival,
That's
which we
right.
just celebrated, and it's an
That's
awesome.
right.
And so I was going to say that I also grew up with that.
That's right. The
the
carnival.
genre of music that we've contributed to the world. The musical instrument that Trinidad has contributed is the steel pan.
That's
And
right.
the genre of music that we've contributed is called calypso.
Yes,
Or,
I know
or
calypso.
by extension, soca.
My
soca
nieces
music.
have Trinidadian.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so she got the flavor. She knows what it is.
Yeah.
So has she been to Trinidad? She
All the time. Oh yes.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. It's just
I would love to go.
I
would love to go in the future.
You and Rick would have I'm telling you, you'll have a blast.
I would love to
should
go. Yeah.
Y'all should definitely go. If when I get super, rich, you'll all go.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah. So back to what research did you?
Yeah. So I was saying that Trinidad is very artistic, but there wasn't really any sort of outlet to learn how to, be a filmmaker, really.
Because it was all about the music,
right,
and of course with the carnivals, costumes, dancing.
I loved it.
Oh, those costumes are so
my
beautiful.
My wife just told me the other day that I have this thing about memorizing. The same way I memorize directors and actors and musicians, whatever, I also memorize band leaders, or what's known as band leaders, and carnival kings and queens. I knew who won what year while I was in Trinidad. It's insane, the library I have in my head, because I was enveloped in this art. Trinidad is a really beautiful, Trinidad and Tobago is a really beautiful twin island republic to grow up in terms of being an artist. You know what I'm saying? Now let's get back to the conservatism of parents and what happens when you tell somebody you want to be an actor.
Oh, what?
It's not really encouraged.
Um,
You know,
how much does that pay?
exactamundo. Correct.
What's your future gonna
So
be like?
there you go. You know,
Yeah.
how many roommates you gonna have? Whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't really something that I thought could have been done.
Okay.
So my mind kind of went to, like, my mom wanted me to follow her footsteps because she
Oh,
was
and
in
the
medicine. So
nurse,
right,
medicine.
right. And then at some point I wanted to study law
Okay.
because I was watching LA Law, and then at some point I wanted to do journalism because I was like, all right,
Oh,
because I was kind of getting into politics a little bit,
okay.
kind of. So by the time I get to where you now know me, got to
Yeah.
Lehman, by the time I got to Lehman College, and this is where our paths crossed. When I first got to
Yes.
Lehman, I got to Lehman when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
Because in Trinidad, or the British system, there at the time there was something called O levels and A levels, and you take your O's at 16, and then
Mm-hmm.
you do
And
two
is
years of.
that like for here? Is that like college or
Yeah, I was gonna say
what's the
it,
equivalent to here? What's the O?
that there is no
There's
really
no
equivalent.
equivalent.
I
Okay.
think that the 2 years of preparation for A's is like your junior and senior year in high school, because by the time you
All
get
right.
out
All
of the
right.
second year of A level prep, you're 17, 18, and that's when you're ready for
Okay.
college.
Okay.
So I didn't do the A levels. I did my O levels, and what's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to happen is you do your O levels, and then you do something called sixth form, and you prepare for your A levels, and
Okay.
that's 2 years, and then you get out, and then you go to college. Right? That's
Okay.
the British system.
Yeah.
My mom was like, do your O's, and
Yeah.
whatever you do, what grades ever you get in your O's, we'll see if we can get you into school here.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing too was, I remember I was into A Different World. I love that show. I was,
Oh yes.
I was like, I want to go to a black university because of that show.
Mm,
So I wanted to go to Howard.
HBCU.
Yep, hell yeah, the U, HBCU. So I wanted to go to Howard University.
Oh nice.
Uh, and then my mom was like, "Okay, why don't you get your grades, and let's see if we can get you into a CUNY school." And my grades got me into Lehman. And I guess the original plan was, if I really wanted to go to DC and do Howard, I would. But it just never happened. I
It
just
didn't.
got
Okay.
into Lehman at 16, and it was a whole other world. It literally was a different world because I was a 16-year-old Trinidadian kid in the big city. It was really weird. It was like I'm younger than everybody. I'm not from here. I had a thick
Oh.
accent. It was
Oh.
nuts. You know what I mean? So for the first 2 years, I was like, all right, I'm kind of undecided, but my major, I think, was what was my major? I said if I wanted to do law or medicine or journalism, the common thread would have been
Political science?
no.
Uh,
That's a good, yeah, but I was thinking psychology would be
oh,
the
psychology. Okay.
right, the
Yeah, that was
link
my
between all
major.
three. So
Okay.
I chose psychology as a major,
Mm-hmm.
and because I was super black, I chose Black Studies as a
Black
minor.
studies. Yeah.
Right. So that's how I started. And then at
Okay.
one point, and I was also in the Lehman Scholars Program, and there was somebody in that classroom who was doing theater at Lehman,
Mm.
was doing a play. I met one girl in there, and she was like, "You should come through and check out the play." And I was like, "All right." And I came through,
Oh.
and I
What
saw the
play was
play.
it?
It was a play called Union. That's what it was called. It was
Okay.
called Union.
I don't think we were together the same year.
No, so
We
there's
met in the performance
right,
wise, but we didn't
right.
meet.
Your
Yeah.
generation is a little different from mine. I know
Okay.
all the actors from my generation, and then there was another generation after me, and then
Mm-hmm.
another one after that, and I think you were part of that. And I think where we have a Venn
Ah.
diagram of people who share generations is people like Henry Vasquez.
Yes.
Like
Yes. Love
Henry
him.
was coming in as I was graduating, right? But
Oh,
I still
gotcha.
did plays, so that's why Henry and I did a lot of plays, and that's when all the other, like Shanice
Yes.
and oh my God,
Valerie,
Valerie,
Sharon. I still keep
all
in
of these
touch with my
guys,
girls.
you,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing faces on the names.
Joanna,
Yep, yep, yep. I'm the one person I'm thinking of. I can't think of right now.
Jeannie,
Yep.
Ken, may he rest in peace.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Yes. Yeah. See, so that's all that's
Felix.
yeah, Mr. Otero, all of those people.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
all
yeah,
my
yeah.
people. All my
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah.
So I saw Union,
Okay.
loved it,
Okay.
and
I've never seen
Valerie,
them.
who was a friend in class, she was
Mm-hmm.
like, you should audition for the next play. And the next play
Mm.
was Working by Studs Terkel,
Okay.
right? It was a musical.
Mm.
And I auditioned for that. I got the role, and that's when I was hooked. I did every Lehman play from, let me see, like 1991
Mm.
And I graduated in '94, and I still kept doing
And you
plays.
said,
And
wow.
that's where you and I, because we did
We met in the
Three Penny
90,
Opera.
yeah, Three Penny Opera.
That's when we did.
That's
Yeah,
when
you
we
played
met.
Jenny.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It
was
was so
Mac and
much
you were
fun.
Jenny.
Yeah.
And we had that number together. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So and let me just a little aside, 'cause I kind of wish Rick was here to hear me say this, because when
Yes.
I have to say that I'm just taking a break, and I know you're recording.
No,
You're
it's
going to use
fine. It's
this.
fine. Yeah, yeah.
That I'm really happy for you and Rick, because when I met
Thank
you, you
you.
were one of the sweetest, most
Oh.
charming. Just you were so damn cute. Not past tense. You're obviously gorgeous
I'm
now.
not cute.
You're obviously gorgeous now. But I'm saying you were so you had such an energy about you.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, I love Alex. Alex is dope. And I couldn't do
Thank
anything
you.
about it because I think I had a girlfriend at the time. And this is why I'm saying I'm glad I wanted Rick to be able to hear this.
Okay.
But you were part you represent the sort of like the really good times of me acting at Lehman, because I remember how much fun we had during
Oh
Three
my
Penny
God,
Opera
we
and
had
all that
so
stuff.
much
But
fun.
all that to say is I've been following your career. We're friends on Facebook,
Thank you.
so I
Yeah,
Facebook
and
stalk you,
Instagram.
whatever. And I think
And
I think
Instagram.
right, exactly. And I think you and Rick are doing dope things. I love Rick by extension. I want to meet that brother
You're
so
gonna
we
meet
can
him
hang. You know what I mean?
after we're done.
And a little. I know we'll probably get into this later, but Dad Rippy, I watched that, and oh my God, my heart broke. It just broke
Oh,
because I totally got it. We don't have to talk about it now,
yes.
but for y'all, if y'all don't know, I mean, of course they're going to advertise the podcast. It's their podcast. If y'all are fans of the podcast and you follow the podcast, you know that Cloud and Wind did a web series called Dad Rippy. And if you
Yes,
didn't
we
know,
did.
shame on y'all. Unsubscribe or atone for your sins by watching this thing. That's what you should do. Because it's awesome.
And you have to check his work out too, because he is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And then I see the guitar. Oh my God, you guys are gonna bond.
Oh yeah.
With
I
your
saw
guitar.
that
We gotta
too.
get into that too.
Oh yeah. We can talk about that for real. We can do that. Yes, ma'am.
So
I don't know
yeah,
if I answered any questions. I kept so like I said, I'm scatterbrained. I ramble all the
it's
damn
okay. This is a conversation. But I wanted to go back to your days at Lehman and that spark. You auditioned for this play after you saw Union, and
yes,
everything, you just found this new. It was just like, this is where I belong.
Because the thing about theater, because I never.
What did that bring you? Because you already knew you were artistic, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to be a film director. What else did that bring you as a human being and as an artist that you were like, wow, I didn't know that I had this in me? What was that gift that it gave you?
Right. So when I was a kid, I knew movies. I didn't know theater. And if I knew theater actors, it was because I saw them on television or I saw them in movies. You know, like the Angelians or the what's the guy who was in Alienation? I'm getting old, y'all. So, but anyway,
me too.
There are a lot of theatrical actors that I saw on television that I knew. You know, Brian. I see, I'm thinking names and I can't even say them. But let's say Angelian, for example.
Yes.
Or even Joel Grey. You know,
okay.
These actors that had or Bernadette Peters. These are all people that are theater giants, but I didn't know what theater was. You know what I'm saying? I knew what movies were. So when I got to Lehman and I experienced theater, like Chanel Perry Ryder was my first theater teacher at Lehman.
Yes, I never got to meet her. Yes.
And that woman changed my life because she treated every let's say class, because I took classes with her as acting class.
Yes.
She treated it as she treated that space as a stage.
Yes.
So it wasn't like you were students coming in trying to learn stuff. You were actors.
You were actors, so she treated you as such.
And she treated you like an actor, and she disciplined you like an actor. I remember the thing to this day that I learned from her is she would always say that your next gig isn't determined by your next audition, but it's determined by how you conduct yourself in the job that you're on now. So in other words, if you are doing like a play or a TV show and you show up on time and you know your lines and you treat people the way they're supposed to be treated and you establish a great vibe with people, that will carry.
That will get you. Yeah.
That'll get you further than any amount of auditions that you could do. And it works.
That is the biggest lesson. That is the biggest lesson.
Yep.
That's what I love. that's what I, not to cut you off, but that's
No,
what I
no, please.
loved about the discipline that being an artist gives us. Because I started dancing first, but it's such a great discipline that it's transferable to anything in what you do in life, because you carry that discipline with you in relationships, how you treat other people, and in any job. And then it's like people look down. Now, I'm not going to say people look down on artists, but like if you're looking for a day job and you say you're an artist, you have to mention. I mentioned, like, when I was recently interviewing, and I was mentioning, like, I'm an artist, and this is what this gave me to be able to transfer this to a job. Discipline, work ethic, creativity, because you're able to juggle and, you know, handle different tasks at hand. So I just feel like that's a great gift that we have. And what Professor Ryder taught you is wonderful.
And that thing, it doesn't, as you said, it doesn't just apply to the arts. It applies to life. And I think the reason why I'm happy as a human being, as a professional working individual, as well as an artist, is because I enjoy working with people. And the reason why I enjoy working with people is because I've had so many experiences of working on theatrical projects where I've been blessed, where I haven't had any major problems.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? And it teaches you that if, let's say, there's personality conflicts, because you're working with other actors on stage, right? It's a team. It's like one sort of action affects everybody else. And on top of that, it's not just the actors, but it's the people that are also in the production staff, right? The directors and the stage managers and the lighting directors and the audio people and all of these people. And it's just one machine. And that, just that one experience, right? Just learning how to interact with people on stage and off stage, that the way you do that, if you can successfully navigate that, you can successfully navigate life, because there are going to be conflicts that happen in your life that, you know, make you want to, break the law, quite honestly. The people that you just want to stab with an Afro pick, right? But obviously you can't do that. But being involved in theater really taught me how to work with people.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I think it's that spark I was talking about before, Alex, in terms of when I was a kid. It was like, I think you said, I was kind of born for it. It's like I've always been the type of person.
It's like you came with that.
Yeah, I've always been the type of person that has been always one to try and resolve conflicts as opposed to engage in conflicts.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And I think that really helps in terms of creating, being an artist, and working with people to create something. Right, that from nothing to something. I mean, it almost doesn't sound like it fits, but it always does.
Yes,
it's kind of like when you look at a movie and you can tell, or you can look at celebrities and you can tell which ones are theatrically trained and which ones aren't.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You could tell.
It's like you could vibe it, and because theater does that for people. Theater humbles you.
Yes,
it
does.
You, and that's the thing that Professor Ryder did for me. Is she humbled me, because I came in and I was.
Oh, you came in like, you were hot.
I came in hot. I was like, I was like, yep. I came in like
you were floating, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she
brought you to the level.
She went pop that balloon real quick. She did. She taught me humility, for real, and I'm glad she did it then. Because even at my age now, if it ever happens, if the commercial stuff ever happens, I know how to handle it. I'm glad it didn't happen in my 20s.
Everything happens. I feel like everything happens for a reason, and when that happens for you, you'll be so like on point and grounded that nothing will, because you're already at the place where you know who and what you are within as an actor. And a lot of times it's sad that when people go in so young, they don't have the concept of being grounded and humble. So they lose themselves and they don't know who and what they are. So that's another thing. You know what I mean?
Because people can feed you so much stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, people could make you think you're invincible and untouchable, and you're not. You're supposed to know you're not.
Exactly.
That's where that humility comes in. You know?
And I was gonna ask, with you mentioned something that you came in with this, with your head inflated, and she brought it down. I was gonna ask you, during that time or in your artistic life, what was the most challenging thing that you had to deal with, and how did you handle it?
I don't
If there
Are you talking
was,
about at Lehman or just in general?
in general, as an artist,
Yeah,
because we go through so many.
yeah. I think. Hmm. So I went. I went on a tour. I did so after I graduated,
Yeah.
and I was acting a lot. Oh wow! Now see, as I'm mentioning, there's a few couple things, but nothing broke me.
Mm.
But I guess one of the most major things that happened was I went on tour in Italy. I did Here, the musical.
Oh, nice. I
Right.
remember. I
Yeah.
remember when you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I did that. I think I was probably still acting at Lehman. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
graduated since, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I was still
I
acting at
think
Lehman.
was it Hair after Three Penny Opera, or
Well,
was
yeah,
it?
but yeah, well, okay. So I did Here. Not, I think Lehman didn't Lehman do Here actually.
They
Lehman
did.
might have
They
done
did.
Here.
Yeah,
Right,
they
right.
did. They
So
did.
I did Here right around the time y'all was doing Jesus Christ Superstar. I think.
Okay. Yes. So yes, I
That's
do.
what I
Yep.
think.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So because I remember learning doing the musical Hair, and then remembering how similar it was to Superstar, and
It
realizing that Jesus
is.
Christ Superstar is like my favorite musical of all time. And then I saw y'all do it, and I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, this is Tom Snowden." If you,
Oh
dude, killed it.
man,
That brother
Tom.
killed it. He killed it. But to answer the question, I was doing Here
Yes.
in Italy, and it was a very weird. It started off as a weird tour because there was some sort of financial things happening with the production company and the it was a
Mm-hmm.
production company and the who was it? It was two clashing companies, one from Italy and one from um, Holland. And I
Okay.
think there was some sort of thing, and they ended up dropping us and firing us after rehearsal. Like we did like one show,
What?
and
What?
they fired all of us. I know it was weird.
Why?
It was like I said, there was some sort of.
How did you get that gig? You auditioned in the States?
So how did I get? Okay, let me see if I remember how I got this gig. Okay,
And if not, it's fine.
so
What
I
happened after? Yeah. So forget about how you got it.
yeah yeah.
You got fired. So what did that do to you? What
It
you had to
was
go back
weird.
home?
Yeah. So
They
what ended
fired
up?
you. What? Like yeah.
Yeah, it was a crew of us, all the actors, and I think in order for them, for whoever it was that did not want to be bound to whatever contractual thing was like, well, I guess it was a standoff. It was like, well, you do this or blah blah blah,
Oh
and whoever it was chose blah blah blah, meaning
yeah.
get rid of the actors, so they fired us, and it was devastating. But what
Wow.
was interesting? Well, I'll tell you what was interesting about that night. It was in terms of how things happen out of challenges.
Yeah.
It was devastating, and I remember there was a lot of tears, and we flew back. But then, like maybe 2 weeks later,
Mm-hmm.
there was an Italian company that wanted to pick up the slack that the Dutch company wouldn't, so they rehired us,
Okay.
and I was back out in Italy, like
So
in
you got fired, had to go back to the US,
yes,
then to go back to
and then we had to go back out, and we
wow.
did the tour, and it was a wonderful tour,
Oh
and the company that
wow.
hired us treated. I mean, we didn't see any disrespect from
No,
whatever;
no,
it was
no, no.
all in the background.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
that was very challenging, but it ended up being
Challenging in
very
what way for
magical.
you? Like were you like, damn, did you question the business? Like what
I
was it that
think,
it did to you?
yeah, a lot of things made me question
Okay.
acting, and we could get into that too, as far as
Yeah.
because there was a
Well, let's
couple things
do
that
it.
happened where,
Let's
okay,
go. Let's go
right,
ahead and
yeah,
do
we
it.
can
Yeah.
do that. But that specific incident didn't that specific incident was awesome in the sense that we went back,
Okay.
and also my daughter was conceived as a result of I met my first daughter's mother the night we got fired.
Oh
Literally, the night
wow.
we got fired from whatever we went, there was a theater that we were performing at, and the bottom of that theater was a bar,
Yeah.
and we went and we just were drowning our sorrows, and I met who would be my first wife at that bar in Italy. It was weird. It was just God has a way
Oh,
of, you know what I mean? It was
yeah.
so even though it
The
was a
way things.
challenging night, I have a beautiful 20-year-old daughter now
Wow.
because of that night. If that
Congrats.
didn't happen, I would not have met my daughter's mother, and my daughter wouldn't be here,
And
right?
your bought exactly.
So would gifts come in different gift
So
wraps,
is your daughter's first mother in Italy? Or
No, so just a minor history on that. Uh, was um, she was an educational professional in Italy. She's not Italian; she's Scottish, but she just
oh,
happened to be
okay.
living in Italy, and we met that night, and then um, I came back to New York, and then I came back out, and we hung out, and then I did the tour again next year, the year after, and I met her again, and
Wow. And you just
then
kept seeing each
and then I
other.
conceived my daughter, and then she came to live with me in New York, and we were
Oh,
together for
okay.
10 years. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it was just weird. So that show was very interesting in terms of how,
What what it brought to your life,
yes,
in other words.
exactly. And it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
also the
yeah.
first time I was naked on stage, which was the big.
Yeah.
If
No, I was
matter of
gonna
fact, I should
ask
have
you
led
because
up
you
with
have to
that.
get
I should have
naked.
led with that.
You
I
have to
should have
get
led with
naked.
that.
So
Yeah.
then you got used to it. You were getting naked all the time.
Yeah. I should have led with that challenge. I remember. So I got
How was that? Yeah, was that challenging for you to
hell
get
yeah, it
naked?
was challenging. All
Okay,
right.
it wasn't easy for you.
Okay. So all right. So I'm the kind of guy that I think I'm game for anything. There's not, which is not true in terms of things that I have to have a conversation in terms of things that I would or would not do when it comes to acting. Right.
Okay,
It's still
yeah,
a conversation that I think we all have those
yeah,
conversations.
yeah, yeah. Of course, and it
So
changes.
right, it's just based on maturity
Mhm,
level and experience
mhm.
and whatever have you. Right. As you get older.
Yeah.
So I got hair, and everybody was talking about, oh yeah, you gotta get naked, you gotta get da da da. So immediately the first question, I think they broke the ice by saying, okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And I should also mention that I did hear with the guy that wrote it, uh,
What?
James Rado, the guy who wrote
Really?
here, directed me in that. And
That's
he,
dope.
he also, for all you theater buffs and historians, he also played the original Claude. It was him and Jerry Rackney who played Claudenberg on
Mm.
Broadway. I was directed by the original Claude on Broadway.
Oh
Right. So I should lead
wow.
with that. So we, we all, the crew got together, and it was like, okay, yes, in case you're wondering, yes, there is
You have to
the
get
nude
naked.
part of the end of Act One. But they said, if you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to do it. And for some reason in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
So wait, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to take the part, or if you're not
No, no, no. If you
comfortable,
no,
you
we
don't
were
have to
all
get naked.
cast. We were there
Okay.
already. They're saying that
All
if you're
right.
not comfortable, you don't have to get. So in other words,
You didn't have to get naked.
right.
Okay.
The scene, if anybody knows here
I
at the end of the
remember,
first
yeah.
act, I forgot the name of the song.
Let the
Um, um,
sunshine?
no, not
No.
that's the end of the.
Aquarius?
Nope, not Aquarius. It
Uh
is. I'll tell you. Where do I go? That's the name of the song.
yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Where do I go? Follow the river. That song. So at the end of that song, there's a parachute on stage, and everybody goes under the parachute, and the parachute
Mm-hmm.
comes off, and we're all naked, right? So if you didn't want to be naked, you when the parachute came in, you just left and go off stage. That's it. Right.
Okay.
That's it. But for the
Yeah.
most part, the majority of the cast wanted
They
to
were
do
like,
it.
fuck it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so for the rehearsal, I was so eager to do it. I remember the dance captain I was like, no, 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 you don't have to do it now. You don't have to do it. So I'm like, oh my God, we are not going to do it at all. And then when it comes to actual showtime, we're going to do it. Oh my God, this is dope. So it
Oh
came for the night. I remember I was like, all right, this is going to happen. It's going to happen tonight. And I'm looking around, and it's blue light, and everybody's all getting naked. And I'm like, wow, this is insane. And I remember just saying, screw it. And the parachute comes off, and I stand up, and it's like, oh, it's
I
kind
like
of
it.
dark, right? And you see the audience out there, and I'm like, oh, this isn't bad. It's dark, and then all of a sudden, the spotlight the beam goes right across my loin, and I'm like, here we go. Don't turn it back now. Don't turn
Done.
it back now, y'all.
Oh, done.
I remember our dance captain, Stephen Miranda. God bless his soul. He's no longer with us. He would tell me, Duane, why are you coming out of the parachute like the creature from the Black Lagoon? I was like, and I had my dreads, and I thought I was all sexy with my, I was in better shape than I was skinny and cut, and I had
Yeah,
dreads, and
yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
that I will say that show was the best shape I was in my life because we were dancing every
Every day,
day,
right?
every day. It was the best shape I was in my life.
Oh
But yeah,
wow.
that was. But every time I tell stories about challenges, Alex, I realize that something good came out of it. You know what
That's
I mean?
what challenges I
Yeah.
feel
Right.
challenges do.
Right. So
Yeah.
there is one thing that kind of soured me away from from management, whatever. We could tell that, but whatever.
Mm.
But other than that, I think I haven't. There has been nothing that I've experienced that has deterred me from um, realizing how valuable the arts is in my life. You know what I mean? And how much I want to be a part of it, and how much I want to create it, and how much I want to share it. Nothing's deterred me from that.
And what keeps
Nothing.
you
Nothing.
going with that attitude? What keeps you motivated to still be an artist? And what keeps
I'll,
you, yeah.
good. I think because I think most of it has to do with the fact that I live in New York.
Mm.
And I'll tell you why I say that.
Okay.
So right after Lehman, I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
still acting, right?
Yeah.
But I was also I joined. Um, I had a girlfriend around the year that I graduated, who was in a group called. Well, she was in two groups. One Bronx-based group called Mind Builders,
Okay.
Positive Youth Troop. They had a youth theatrical training program called Positive Youth Troop, and you'd go out and tour schools and do plays and whatever. And
Okay.
then there was also City Kids, the City Kids Foundation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right, where Malik Yoba was part of
Yes,
that,
yes,
and
yes, yes.
Lauren Hill was there for a little bit, and a few Dash Myhawk, Donald Faison, a bunch of people came out
Yeah,
of City
yeah, I
Kids.
remember
Right, so I
them.
was part of that thing too.
Okay.
And City Kids is really what sort of kept the fire because I would see Donald, like Donald would come, hey, how's Whitney? Because he just came back from shooting Wayne in the Exhale, and you know what I'm saying? It was just like, okay, and it wasn't jealousy or anything or envy. It was being around people that was doing what you want to do, and I still have that mentality now. As an
Yeah,
older man, passing it on to younger people, where it's like when you see people being successful,
that
it's
just
to
gives
be
you more motive.
celebrated because
Yes,
it's
to
an example of
push you
what
more.
exactly. It shouldn't be something as a deterrent. It shouldn't be like, and I've never been this way at all. It shouldn't be
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what he got and I ain't got. It should be
Hey,
he got it. I can
I can do it too. I can do
exactly,
it.
and I've
Yeah.
always felt
And
that way.
I call that, it's not jealousy, it's like a positive jealousy.
Yes.
We're like, oh,
Yeah.
he's doing that. Wait a minute. And
Yeah.
what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
with Dad Repeat, it's like I've been
Hmm.
struggling with trying to do podcasts for a while. I wrote one and
Hmm.
whatnot, and I saw Dad Repeat, and I was like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. I got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
A-
that's
And
why
if you
I
need any help or whatever, you
sure.
hello, holla.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm cool with
Yeah.
that. But so
City kids.
yes. So I was
Hmm.
gonna say because the root of your question was
What keeps you
what keeps
motivated
me
to keep
going?
going?
And I
Yeah.
said New York City. And I say that because all of these people, um, from mind builders to
Hmm.
city kids,
Hmm.
right? We all live in New York. And
Yes.
through them, I meet other artists that are all in New York. New York is a
So it's a
hub of,
network. Yeah.
is a network and a hub of people coming to want to be artists.
Yes.
And that's what I love New York for. And I've met
Yes.
so, and even now meeting artists. And because, oh, and I also did pardon me, open mics too, hence the guitar and
Mm,
all that
mm,
stuff and
mm.
poetry. And
Okay.
I met a lot of artists through that way too. And there's this thing about this artistic community in New York that keeps you grounded and
It's true.
supported. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
more so than let's say, and I know there are other artistic towns. I know there's
Yeah,
Chicago,
definitely.
I know
Yeah.
there's Toronto, and I know
Yeah.
there's LA,
LA. Yeah.
right? I
Atlanta,
can't
I
speak on
think.
Chicago. I've
Me either.
experienced a little bit of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't too sweet on LA because LA is such an industry town. Meaning,
It
it's people
is.
go to LA to be an actor, to be
So yeah.
famous,
Yeah.
to be a superstar.
It
Whereas
doesn't
people
have
come
the I feel like it doesn't have the colors, if that's the
right.
right word, that New York
Hmm.
has.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
No, I
That's
feel
how
it.
I
Yeah.
describe it.
The
Hmm.
colors. Yeah.
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 And
It's a different tone.
yeah, it's a different tone.
It's a
I
different
feel
tone.
like New York is more rugged and real, and
Hmm.
LA is superficial. That's
Yeah.
how I feel.
Okay. Okay. And I know people have
But
issue
again, I
with
haven't been there long enough to be. I'm not judging it, but that's
right.
what I got from when I was there
Got you.
and
I
how I
understand.
compared it. You know?
Understood. Because there's nothing like being. I was in a play last November, and
Yeah.
I was
Congrats on
sharing.
that.
Thank you very much. And just being in that play with a very super indie production company, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just us four actors, and we all shared the backstage area, and we kicked ass when we went on stage.
Mm.
Something about even Broadway actors now will tell you the feeling of going back to a stage where it's short and
Yeah.
small and
Yeah.
intimate is such a charge as opposed to being on
Ooh.
a big set with
Yes.
cameras and lights and you're the
Oh my
focus of
gosh.
everything. That's why
Yes.
I go back to saying which actors are theatrically trained and which actors are not. New York, I think, is a haven for people who want to be individual as possible. Like there's not a
Mm-hmm.
cookie cutter thing. I know people are
It's
always looking
for.
for.
I feel like it's especially if you're theater trained. It's the
Mhm.
craft.
Yes,
and,
yes,
and and
yes,
there's also film actors like that. It's the
yes,
passion and love for the craft. not the
Yes.
passion and love for the fame. It's the passion and
Yes.
love for the craft.
Right. Agreed.
That's what's
100%.
powerful. Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
There's people
yeah,
who are
yeah.
willing to do whatever it takes to get the show on the road
Mm-hmm.
with minimal budget. And even to this day, I mean, I know Broadway is almost a mega business,
Oh
and
my gosh.
it has its issues and all of that
Yes,
stuff in
yes,
terms
yes,
of
yes.
the hierarchy. That's
Of
true.
course. Like
But
Hollywood.
ultimately, Broadway and Hollywood, when it comes to money, it's not. It's just
Yeah.
not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So to even want to be successful on Broadway, it's still, you still have to love it. You still have. It's like it's the closest thing of being, let's say, a stand-up comedian. That's why I love
Yeah.
comedians so much. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they do it because they want to do. I don't think comedians. And
That's
I could
true.
be wrong, but I don't think they do it so that they can get the sitcom or they can get that cushy writing gig. They do it
That's
because they
great.
want to.
Yeah.
They want to do it because they want to prove something to themselves, and because they push themselves and dedicate themselves to the craft, it's recognized because game
Mm-hmm.
recognizes game. And if you push
Mm-hmm.
yourself and advance yourself in something that you love and you become good at it, you will reap the rewards of it because somebody's going to realize, you're going to see it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I think the original goal, and I use comedians again as an example, is they just do it because they're hungry. They want to they want to, and I feel the same way about acting theatrically. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
film, it's shifting now because now we could talk about technology and
Yeah.
because when you and I were coming up, let's say in the
Mm-hmm.
'90s and 2000s, if we wanted to do what we wanted to do, right, it'd be a
Yeah.
lot of money. It'd be a lot of courses we need to take, equipment that we
Yes.
couldn't afford.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I mean, I'm looking for my phone, but
You could
if you have a
do
cell
something with
phone,
a
exactly, cell
yeah.
phone
Yeah.
or a DSLR
Yep. Yeah.
camera,
Yep.
which I
Yep.
have,
Yep. And then
I'm
you have
able to
YouTube University if you want any pointers.
right.
It
Okay.
was so
Yeah.
it's so I I was having this conversation with my husband, like with
Hmm.
anything. It's so the kids are now
Hmm.
have it so easy
Mm.
because they had exposed to so many things. And us growing up, I had to hustle my ass off
Right. Right. Now.
to in everything, in school, in
Hmm.
acting, like there's a lot of footwork and sweat. Not that
Right.
they're not doing it now, but everything is digitally. Here
See,
we
but
had to put in the
right,
work.
right. I was gonna say,
Literally.
yeah, you're right, and I agree with you 100%.
Not
The
that no,
slight
they're
push.
not putting the work now, but it's a different kind of work. There's no
See,
hunger, there's no grind, there's no hustle.
right, because
I
as you
mean, there
said,
is, but if you know, I can't explain it.
no, I know, I got
You
what
know
you're
what I
saying.
mean? Like,
Yeah, I got you.
I
I
feel
got
like
you.
the hustle is different.
Right. It's like because kids have things that are so accessible
It's
now.
so
It doesn't.
accessible.
It's not a thought of how to put a project together.
Putting
You
in the
know.
work is different
Right.
now
Right.
than it was how we were growing up.
Right.
That's how
But
I
this
feel.
right.
Yeah.
But the slight pushback that I will say though is
Yeah.
where kids have it harder now is because of the accessibility.
Yeah.
Meaning it's kind of harder to stand out because there's so
That's
much noise
true.
out there.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody has a
Yes. That's
YouTube page.
true.
Everybody's on TikTok.
Yeah.
Everybody, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
now,
Yep.
whereas, let's say,
That's
I'll
so
give you an
true.
example. Like I'm a huge fan of Saturday Night Live. Huge fan.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Historical fan. So when Andy Samberg and Joe Matacone and the third brother of Akiva Goldsmith, when
Yes.
Lonely Island, right? When they were doing the YouTube stuff, right, and they got hired by SNL,
Mm-hmm.
the whole SNL digital short thing, it kind of took off because it was something SNL were doing shorts before, but not to the comedic level that these guys were doing it. Plus, these guys were young and they're funny, and they
Mm.
found a niche that was perfect. Because they did that, everybody now
Uh,
is it's inundated. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's harder to break through because of the accessibility, I think. And
Okay.
so I will give
Yeah.
that much
That's
in
so
terms of
true.
the new generation, but that's not taking away what you said. I agree with you 100%. It's like when I was thinking about going to NYU when I was at Lehman College, when I was working at
Mm-hmm.
BronxNet, and I saw that the tuition was like, I don't know, $60,000 a year. I was like, there's no way I
Your
can afford all of
mortgage.
this, right? I can't afford $60,000 to learn how to use a camera. And over the years, I learned how to use a camera without
You
having to go
got
to
to do
university
it.
because I do it professionally.
That's right.
You know what I
Because
mean?
you when you graduated from Lehman, you go while you were at Lehman, you were working with
Yes.
BronxNet,
So
and then that's
BronxNet,
how you
That's how it happened.
So
BronxNet
that's how you
started in
got involved. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, let's
BronxNet
tell me a little
started.
about that journey.
Sure. So I was again 1992. Let's say 1990, late 92 or early 93.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved at Lehman. I can't remember what play I was doing. Maybe the Bed Bug. Notably doing something directed by Bing D. Bills or Chanel Perry
Yeah, yeah,
Ryder. One of
yeah,
the
yeah,
two.
yeah,
One of the two.
yeah.
And I overheard through some of the guys at the theater department that there was
Yeah.
this new television station in the basement of Carmen Hall. I was like, "There's a TV
Right.
station in the basement of Carmen Hall? What are you talking about?" So nosy me went, and it
Mm.
was just minimal equipment, cameras here and there, and it was like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're looking for interns. We're starting this public access station in the Bronx." I was like, "What's public access?" Well, it's something that allows people in the community to create television, and they can air it
Mm.
on public access. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Mm.
So I was like, "Well, what's the deal? What do you need to intern?" Well, we offered paid internships, and all I heard was paid,
And you
and I
were
didn't
like,
hear everything was Charlie Brown after that.
all
That's
right.
I heard paid internship. I
You
was like,
saw cameras, you heard paid, you were like, it's a
"Yep,
wrap.
sign me up." So right before, this was a year before I graduated. I was
Nice.
interning at BronxNet, and that's what started me on television. Now,
Mm.
after I graduated, it my first wife always jokes to me that it was like you spent 10 years on Lehman campus, and she's right because I graduated in '94.
Yeah.
But I
But
was
you're still there.
working at BronxNet from 1993 to 2004. For 11 years.
Wow.
I was still on Lehman
And still
campus,
pursuing your acting career on the
and
side.
still I went on
Nice.
tour at that time.
Mm.
I did the hair tour at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing minor. I was touring with City Kids. I was touring with
Mm-hmm.
Positive Youth Troops. So I was doing my acting stuff while I was working at BronxNet. And my daughter was born in 2001, so I was a
Okay.
new dad, and it was 2004 that another old school Lehman College theater kid. This is my generation, not yours. His name was Al
Yeah.
Cachapo. He
Okay.
um, he left BronxNet to work at CUNY TV,
Okay.
and CUNY TV was looking for shooters, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "Oh, I know a guy who's a good shooter." And
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was hanging out with a friend of mine from City Kids, and we were at a movie, and I got a phone call from this guy from CUNY TV. "Yeah, you were referred to by Al Cachapo. You want to come down and get an interview?" I was like, and I just auditioned for like a play or something, and I think
Yeah.
I was going to get a call back. And in my mind, I'm going on tour. I have no time for this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Brand new dad with a talking about I ain't got no time for no, whatever. So I was like, at least go and see what the job is about. And I went,
Yes.
and I tried to sabotage. This is a lesson learned. I tried to sabotage. I was just talking to my wife about this the other day. I tried to sabotage because I was so into being an actor. I was like, I'm going on
Yeah.
tour. You're not going to stop me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they're offering me. And I was like, well,
What
I'm
were
going
they
on tour.
offering you?
They were like, we do this show, we do that show. There's opportunities for you to work this and that. These hours that
Mm.
are done. Like BronxNet is public
Offering
access,
a
but
great gig, a great job.
right, they were off right, and then they
Mm.
didn't talk money yet. And then I was
Gotcha.
like, well, whatever. I'm doing this thing. And then when I said I was an actor, they're like, we do 3 theater shows here, which they did. They did American Theater Wing, they did Theater Talk, and there was another show that they did Women in Theater.
Oh, okay.
And all of and because of these 3 shows, I've met and shook hands with Denzel Washington, Sean Combs, Hugh
Mm.
Jackman, Viola, like all of these actors
All
came
these.
through CUNY
Yes.
TV
Yes.
because of these
Yes.
shows,
Yes.
which I didn't know at the time, mind you.
Yeah.
And I was like, but so the more I kept saying I'm an actor, the more they kept offering, and
They
then
kept like.
finally they kept pushing, and then finally
Yeah.
they were like, "How much you making at Bronx?" And I told them, and they were like, then the boss comes in, right, and was like, "We're offering you this," and I was like, "I guess I'm hired."
Uh,
So what they
okay,
did
so
was,
they offered
yeah,
you that, and you were still able to do the tour, or you had to
no,
say no. You had to
I
say
backed
bye
out of
to
the
the
tour
tour.
because
Okay.
again, new father. What was more important for a
Of
new dad?
course. And I was gonna ask you. You found out you were dad. What was that
Yes.
like for you?
So that's a whole
How did that
story.
change your? What
It
did that
changed my.
gift? What did that gift? Because it is a gift. Bring
It's
you.
an absolute gift. So before my daughter, because I had her when 2001,
You said 2001 she was born,
right,
right?
right. So I would have been. I'm trying to think of. I would have been 27.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 20, 28, 27, around there.
Okay. You were young.
So in my 20s, yeah, well, yeah, well, decent age to be a
Decent
dad,
age. No, it's a decent age to
Yeah,
be that, but it's, you're
yeah,
young.
yeah. So, but this is what I'm saying. Is like me being an actor at 27. I'm thinking my biggest competition is Will Smith and Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm like, I want to take these guys down.
Yeah.
That's all I was thinking at 27. So I'm like,
Nice.
I'm do whatever it is I need to do to get there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Not
yeah, yeah.
whatever, but you know what I'm saying. Within
Yeah, of
reason.
course.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I would, I would, because the advantage was that BronxNet was allowing me to go on tour because BronxNet
It was
technically,
flexible with you.
right. It was very
So
flexible.
CUNY TV was like, this is going to be your job, and you have
Well,
to do
that's what I
acting
was
on night.
worried about. That's what I was
Okay.
worried about when I got hired, which is why
Okay.
I didn't want to do it because I wanted to be able to have the freedom to go on tour or
Yeah,
act.
I can relate.
But reality is, I'm a 27-year-old guy
and you're gonna have
with a newborn.
Yeah.
Or it's going to have a baby. And I'm like, my sort of maternal. Remember, way back at the beginning of this thing, we were talking about, the women,
full
the
circle
energy, the energy of my life, and that energy was telling me, make sure this is taken care of first before you do anything else. You know what I mean? So God gave me CUNY TV as my daughter was at 3. I mean, when my daughter's born, BronxNet offered me they offered me a full-time kind of thing.
Full-time position.
It was still flexible, but it was still full-time. But then I literally doubled my salary when I went to CUNY TV. And it was like, okay, I'm a dad, let's take care of this. But then as time went by, it wasn't me giving up one thing to do this. It was like, oh no, it was me
giving you more.
Yes, exactly. Me augmenting my abilities to take care of this child and a family. That had to be important. And with that happening, I was able
You're opening more doors.
Exactly. To dip my foot. Like I had a commercial agent for a while, which is anyway. But
yeah.
but that came. I rolled my eyes because oh my God, I have an issue with agents. I have an issue with agents. I did. Whatever. That might change. I'm saying that now. Who knows? In a week or two,
you'll find a good one.
Yeah, whatever. but ultimately, I'm very happy that CUNY TV gave me the ability to take care of my family and allowed me the freedom as well to get involved in other things, for me to try other things. I tried poetry and I tried open mics and started.
You started playing the guitar. That's awesome.
All of that. My first wife bought me my first guitar, and
nice.
It was just fun,
So that opened. It's so funny because you had a tour, and part of you probably felt like, damn, I'm giving something up, right?
Yes,
did you feel that? Did that like bother you?
I'm not gonna lie.
Because honestly, I was like, damn, I'm freaking giving up this tour, but I got to do what I got to do, and you got to brush it off, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. But hindsight is 20/20, as they say, right? Because I didn't really give up anything.
That's what I'm saying.
Like right now, at 27, I was an actor, and I was an actor, a singer, dancer, and an editor.
A dad. Oh.
Right. And right. That's what I was. Once I had my daughter, and this is what started happening. Singer, dancer, actor, dad, director, producer, poet, musician, producer, Emmy award-winning director. You see what I'm saying?
Look at all the doors that open.
Exactly.
So with that said, with the gift of another life coming into your life, your daughter, what did becoming a dad bring you?
Right. I'm in love with my daughter so much because I'm obviously a sci-fi geek, that's the Black Panther.
I can't see that's the Black Panther. I was like, wait, that looks like, but I can't tell.
I know, it's kind of, I'm looking at it too, like people are like, what the hell is he wearing? So I always say that, what was the thing I used to say? I used to say that my daughter I'm Darth Vader and she's Luke. Meaning, like she's the one to bring balance to the force. Like whatever it is that I would do artistically, she is going to do 10 times better than I do. And it's funny because when she was growing up, I saw so much of me.
Oh, really?
Like she was little me. It was like,
oh, wow.
This is ridiculous. Like she was into the same stuff that I was into. She was into acting immediately. I remember there was one I was doing. What play was I doing at Lehman? I was doing it was one of the Greek tragedies.
Um,
The one, oh
I don't
God,
know.
the one with the door, I played Creon, the king, and my daughter,
My
Antigone.
brains.
That's what it's,
Oh,
Antigone. It was
Antigone.
Antigone, right?
Okay.
So we was doing Antigone, and it was funny because that play was double cast. I remember Henry Ovalis and
Yes.
I shared Creon. We would
Oh,
share
so
that
you
role.
would. Okay.
It was double cast, and who played Antigone? It was oh God, what's her name with the dancer? No, Noel, I think, played
Oh,
Antigone.
I don't know who
I don't
that
know if you
is.
remember Noel, but
No.
anyway. So, but I remember my daughter was maybe 2 or 3, and I took her to
Okay.
rehearse with me,
Nice.
and I remember I was on stage, and cause I had to take her because my wife was, I think,
She was
teaching or
at.
whatever, and so
Okay.
she came to rehearse with me, and I would be doing my lines with her on
You were
my,
holding her?
yeah, I was holding her. So a lot of people at Lehman remember that moment. They'll remember me
That's so
rehearsing with her, and
beautiful.
she would just hold on to me and look at, whatever. And I think that was the
That's
moment where it was
beautiful.
like, oh, the stage birthed her. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because she got into guitar as well. She's taking lessons too.
nice.
And she did like a commercial in England or something, but
Okay.
she is more political than I am in the sense that she's studying law. She's about to
Okay.
graduate college
Oh,
in
wow.
this year.
Congrats.
Yes, she's graduating this year, and she doesn't like law, but she's graduating with a degree. She's more into activism, into improving Black lives for
That's
Black
beautiful.
people in Britain and all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But she's still very
She
artistic.
lives overseas?
Yes, yes, she does.
Okay.
She lives on. She
Okay.
she goes to the University of York
Oh.
in Yorkshire, England.
So what's your daughter's name?
Her name is Soul.
Soul. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
Soul, like
Got
Alma Soul.
chills. Yeah, 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 yeah. What does soul bring to you? If you could describe it in a one word or a
Yeah,
sentence.
I think, yeah, that's what you asked me. See, this is what I'm saying. You gotta
Yes.
you gotta keep me
I'm
humble. You
bringing
gotta
you
keep me.
back.
Yeah, yeah. She gives me a great sense of humility.
Mm,
She always, her being around just makes me feel, no matter what's going on, that I'm doing the right thing.
nice.
Because and this is why I love Dad Repeat. It's going right back to that.
Mm,
Being a father is, people always say it's a title that's earned.
yeah.
Like that whole thing of anybody can be
I feel
a
like mother
dad.
or father is earned.
Right,
It's
right,
both. Because
right.
there's women who leave the kids too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So,
true. That's true. That's true. But she taught me, like just the whole thing of worrying over another human being. Like there was a moment
mm,
when she was a baby, when she's learning how to move. I was on the bed
mm-hmm,
with her,
mm-hmm.
and she rolled, and I missed her, and it was slow motion. She rolled and she fell off the bed.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. That
I,
happened to me.
oh my God, the fear in my heart when
Oh,
that happened.
yep,
You know what
yep.
I mean?
Oh my God.
Whew. She was fine, obviously,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it was just like
No one.
that that feeling. I never felt that before.
Yep. Yep.
Wanting to
Yes.
take care of somebody, wanting to,
Yes.
make something feel better for a child that doesn't understand, doesn't have
Yes.
an adult mind to comprehend, to
Mm.
break things down, why
Mm-hmm.
things are bad, why people are the way they are. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
I, I mean, I've had experiences with my daughter with that in terms of dealing with a-hole people,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? And it teaches me being a father to that young woman, because
Mm-hmm.
she's a woman now,
Yeah.
has made me a better human being many times over. Again, I am the sort of person that it sort of measures my life by other people, and that sounds weird.
Okay.
I don't mean that I depend on other people
You
to
compare
show me
yourself to other
what I'm
people?
worth. No, right. That's what I'm saying. It sounds
Okay.
weird.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I compare, or I compare myself to people to value my worth. I put myself to the side of people to see what the relationship is and how it affects, like what positivity
Okay.
comes out of that. You see what I'm
Gotcha.
saying?
I see. I see
So
what you're
right,
saying. Okay.
right. So in that regard, the way I am with my daughter
Mm-hmm.
kind of teaches me how to relate to people and how to take care of other people. You see what
Gotcha.
I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
I
that
get it.
that's
I get it.
and
Right.
right, yeah,
I
that's
get it.
yeah,
I get
yeah.
it. And do you also feel that being a father has given you anything more artistically? Has it given you more gifts as well? has opened you up more, you feel,
yeah,
or?
I think just sharing, let's, for example, the things that influence me as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give a small example. Music,
Mm-hmm.
right? Me growing up with Stevie Wonder and Mike
Mm-hmm.
and all of the music from the 80s
Yeah.
and sharing that with my daughter who grew up with Disney Channel stuff in the frickin' 2000s and
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a generational divide. I mean, she grew up with people that I can't even remember now, but like,
Yeah.
but because of our relationship, I know who like Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello and all these people are.
Yeah.
But she knows, she did a
Stevie
video the other
Wonder
day.
and all that, right?
It's right. And she did a
Because
video the other day and she used Onyx as a soundtrack. She did Slam.
oh,
Da, da, da. I'm like,
what?
what you know about Slam? Because
What? Because of you.
because she knows what I'm into. And on top of that, the thing that brings me most joy in terms of, I was telling you before about how my artistry was shaped by how I related to the music of my culture, soca
Mm-hmm.
music and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest joys was letting her listen to the carnival music of, let's, I don't know when it was, like 2000, a few years ago.
Yes.
And she started listening to it, and now she listens to it more than I do.
Oh, that's
She
awesome.
now, that is when I was
That's
like, oh my God. Like, she puts
yeah.
Trini flags in her Instagram thing now. She puts a British flag and a Trini flag, and I'm like, she's claiming her culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about, it's my washing machine.
No, it's okay.
Not washing, dry, whatever,
Try
dishwasher.
whatever. Something.
Yeah, there's something to be said for um, trying to understand your culture. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Having a
yeah.
relationship with the understanding of what you're about,
Mm-hmm.
having a relationship with it, having it grow, and then passing that on to somebody else and see how they deal
Yes.
with that same thing.
Yes.
It is an
Yes.
amazing, amazing, amazing thing.
It
So,
is.
and so through that, she makes me appreciate my artistry as a Trinidadian American even more. To the fact that one of my dreams, I
Wow,
have a
that's
good
beautiful.
friend right now, and I'm gonna shout him out, Michael that I used to go to school with, Michael Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
in Trinidad, who's about to be in a Netflix show,
Oh, congrats.
and he has been busting his ass as because again, like I said, in Trinidad, it's not a lucrative thing to be an actor in Trinidad,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and he stuck with it, stuck with it, stuck with it, and now it's paying off, and he's doing this. He's about to be in a Netflix thing, and I had to write him on Facebook, and I sent a voice message, and I said, one of the dreams that I have, man, is to put Trinidad on the map as far as culturally show that we have something to say too.
Mm.
You
Nice.
know, because generally when it
Yeah.
comes, and we can relate to this too. It's like when it comes to Latin culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
It used to be okay. Well, Puerto Rico, right? Or then
They separate
Mexico.
everyone. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
There's so
Everybody's
many other,
separate, but there's
there's
so
so many. We can have what was the Pixar, um, the one set in Mexico with the guitar.
oh, I love that one. Coco.
Coco. We can have Coco
Oh,
and we can have Encanto. We
yes.
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. We need a Mexican perspective and we need a
We need
Colombian
Colombian perspective.
you know what I mean?
You need a perspective of everyone. Even in
Ex-
Trinidad is another part of the Caribbean. I consider
yes,
them just like
exactly.
Trinidad and
Right.
Guyana, and
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because for me, it's like growing up, the only when it came to West Indian culture, the only one that was represented was, guess what? Jamaica. You know what I'm
Jamaica. That's
saying?
right.
And it's like
They
there,
don't
and I, no
mention
disrespect to
Trinidad
Jamaica. I
often.
love my
Yeah.
Jamaican brethren and them. I
Yeah.
do,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that
They concentrate on one.
there's so many,
So
there's
many.
in the Lesser Antilles. If you go all the way
Saint
from my,
Lucia, Barbados, right? All
there
of
you
them.
go, yeah, that's the point I'm making. So I mean,
Yeah.
I want to be able to tell stories from a Trinidadian
Oh,
perspective, and
that's
I'm glad that
great.
Michael's
Do
getting that
it.
shot to do that. You know,
Awesome. And you can do
absolutely.
it. Write
Oh
it
yeah.
and make it happen.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'll try.
So, Duane, we're going to go to
Yes,
the next and last segment.
sure.
And from here, we have these cards and we shuffle them. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what questions are going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be 2 questions.
Sure.
So, the first question is, are all emotions beautiful?
Yes,
And why?
they're all beautiful because beauty can find inspiration in anything. I've seen the most beautiful moments come out of tragedy.
Mhm.
I've seen beautiful moments come out of anger. You know, especially when you're angry and you get to this. There's one thing. It's one thing to be angry and you're just flying off the handle.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
once you understand why you're angry and you get
Mm.
to the source of that anger,
Yeah.
the breakthrough with
Ooh.
that,
Yep.
beautiful. And
Yes,
I'll
it is.
use Datterpy again to prove that I'm a fan of Datterpy.
Oh,
I
thanks.
forgot the episode number when you and Rick had that argument in the
Oh,
kitchen.
yes, yes. 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
That was
like,
real.
I said, I got you because we follow this guy who's trying to figure out what it is to be a father
Mm-hmm.
and needs to a space away from the person that he's supposed to be his partner in order to figure
Yeah.
things out with another
Yeah,
guy who's
yeah.
going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And that beautiful relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because your character didn't
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's this anger, and they both couldn't figure out a way
and I
to
didn't
come.
see it because I wasn't told. He
Right.
wasn't telling me anything.
Right.
I asked one simple question. He didn't
Right.
answer. He wanted to keep a secret.
Right.
So I'm like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Just answer the damn question.
Right, I know. And then when you got to the source of it,
I was like, wow.
con la mi hermanita, la actora Skittles, who I love.
Skittles.
I love Skittles. She's awesome. I love her. But when you got to that moment, it was because again, there's the beauty of conflict.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's always about the answer. Conflict is fine. Just get to the answer.
Yeah.
And when you get to the answers, you get to the solution. So yes, emotions. The question was,
all
are
emotions
beautiful?
Yeah.
All emotions are beautiful. They could be misleading.
Mm-hmm.
They could be misguided.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get it on track,
Put
once you
place.
shape it, once you figure out the perspective of it, once you get to the answers, once you get to the source, that's where the beauty comes in.
Nice. The last question is...
See, I could sound like I know what I'm talking
about. What makes
I don't know what the hell
weird?
I just said. I'm going to have to listen to this file. What the hell? People might be like, what the hell did you
What
say?
kind of question is this? This is the question. What makes you weird? And I feel like, to me, weird is just being unique. I don't see it as a negative.
Yeah.
So what makes... I must say, what makes you unique?
Yeah. So the question is, what makes me unique?
Yeah, the question in reality was what makes you weird, but I'm going to say what makes you unique. I'd rather change it that way.
Would you believe I've never, even
Have you ever thought about that?
The first question you asked, I'm usually good with faking when I'm panicking when I don't know the answer to the question.
Are you panicking right now?
I'm panicking because I don't know the answer to this one. What makes me unique?
Remember, there's never a right or wrong answer,
of course.
So what makes you unique? What you feel makes you unique? What makes you Duane?
Makes me Duane.
Or you could go by the original. What makes you weird?
Okay.
Could be simple. You like to eat.
I know.
A sandwich with...
A sandwich with what? Without bread?
No. Somebody mentioned somebody... I forgot. There was someone in a podcast that mentioned that they like something, and I was like, what? But I can't remember.
No, okay. So I'll give you an example of what makes me unique and weird thing. There's so many weird things that I do, whatever. But I remember an ex-girlfriend of mine being annoyed that I was friendly with her current relationship. And I was like, why? So in other words, so I had a girlfriend.
So you had a girlfriend, she was your ex, but you were friends with the current partner.
I wasn't friends. But what happened was when she introduced me to him.
Oh, you guys became buddies.
We just clicked. And it wasn't like we became friends. Right. And she admittedly didn't know why that bothered her.
Okay.
Right? But my thing is, I am such into human interaction and trying to live a positive... Like I'm a drama-free guy. I don't like conflict.
Yeah.
Like it's easier for me to live in a world where I smile all the time and I find the beauty in people than try to throw shade. You know what I'm saying? So what makes me unique is, even though there's a lot of nonsensical shitty situations on this world, I try to, and this isn't unique by any means, because that's what artists do. That's what we do as artists, is we try to find the beauty in things. But I really think that I really go overboard in terms of thinking, things are going to get better. Like when we had 2016 to 2020 politically was was a very trying time in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it was obvious to me, and it was very frustrating to me that things that were being heralded and, pardon the pun, trumpeted. See what I did there?
Good one.
Right. It was like it's kind of obvious that this is effed up, right? That this is not the way life is supposed to be. That idealistically, if we're talking about moving as a country, that the stuff that this administration is doing is not the way to go, right? Even with that, I didn't want to be partisan and say all, conservative or Republicans suck, because it's not about that. It's about the misguidance of one person.
Exactly.
People can find a universality in life. Like I remember, and quick story. And I don't know if this will make what I'm saying clearer, but I remember years ago I was in City Kids, and we did a tour in Ohio, red state Ohio, and we went to a high school where this kid. You remember when we were wearing X hats back in the day, Malcolm X with sparkly? This kid in a school had a T-shirt that said, you can wear your X, I can wear mine, and the X was a Confederate flag. That's the type of stuff we were dealing with. And in this very same school, we used to do this. We did this performance where I did this play where I played this guy who was disrespecting a girl. I was touching her butt, and the whole point of the play is, respect your women, y'all. And this girl came up to me after and said, I just wanted to tell you. And of course, mostly white kids in the school, red state, like I said, Confederate states.
I imagine.
And she came up to me and she said, that actually happened to me. And I was like, oh. And then she proceeded to tell me that she was essentially sexually assaulted by somebody.
Wow. A stranger.
She didn't know me from Adam.
With you. Yeah.
This kid from New York with dreads, this black guy with dreads, 6 foot guy.
Yes.
You couldn't tell anybody else but me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do, but I calmed down because I had psychological training, because I was a psych major. And I basically talked to her and I said, is there anybody you can talk to? And she said, no. I said, what about your dad? How's your dad feel? And she's like, I don't know what to talk. I said, try to find somebody that you trust. I mean, maybe your dad might surprise. I mean, that was the nutshell. I remember like maybe 4 weeks later, I got a letter. I remember I was in BronxNet. And I got a letter, and I opened the letter at BronxNet because I took it from home and I was late for work, whatever. And it was from her. And she said she spoke to her dad, and she and her dad had a heart-to-heart, and she just basically said, thank you for talking to me.
Oh, wow, I got goosebumps. That's so beautiful.
So so granted,
that was beautiful.
Granted, that didn't happen in 2016, but it's still the same stuff.
But you never know who you're going to impact. Just by planting that seed of positivity.
Exactly. So I try to be positive all the time. Is that weird? It is kind of, because sometimes, like I said, the moments I want to stab people with an afro pick all the time. I do. I have my moments. And I think being a father helped me with that too, by the way.
That's true.
But I always saw myself as the sort of guy that wants to I want to get to the core. Remember we were talking about emotions? I don't fault any emotions. Let's get to the core. I mean, we all get in our fights with our spouses or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to say this as an aside. So I'm very happy with my wife, because she and we've known each other since we were kids. She's from Trinidad. We went to the same school in Trinidad.
Oh, nice.
And we both agree that when it comes to conflicts, whatever, yelling, whatever, the core, what is the problem? What's the issue? Because we love each other. What's the issue?
Yeah. Okay.
And then that's that. So in terms of the universal extension of it is, I'm not going to say we love each other, because I'm not going to be all kumbaya about it. But would you rather live your life in conflict? Well, conflict is fine. Would you rather live your life in undisclosed pain, or do you want to get to the end of it by trying to figure out what's causing that pain? And then when you get there, go to the next step. I mean, it's a work in progress. You know what I mean? I'm not the kind of guy that wallows in anger all the time. I try to be as positive as I possibly can all the time. I don't know if that's weird. I don't know, but I don't know if that's unique. but that
makes you.
Yeah, I've always been that way.